Tonight, champions, legends, the greatest drivers in motorsports are in Stafford Springs, Connecticut with one goal: to determine the best of the best. Get ready for the premiere of the Camping World SRX Series on CBS.
Saturday night, under the lights, legends.
Who will take the chicken flag?
Here we go. Buckle up.
Let me introduce you to a brand new thing. No one gotta prove to. You're looking at the king. This life may choose you. So raise your wings. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Ooh, the brand new watch this, watch this, watch this. This is a brand new thing.
CBS Superstar Saturday Night presents the Camping World SRX Series. Tonight, this short track is where racing and entertainment collide. Welcome to iconic Stafford Motor Speedway, where they've been racing something, whether it's race cars or horses, since 1870. I'm Lindsay Zarniak, and we are thrilled to welcome you into the first of what will be 6 weeks of auto sports here on CBS. 12 drivers with multiple championships between them. They're looking for ultimate bragging rights. That is what is on the line. These stars are motivated, and so is the local short track hero. Can he beat a three-time champion? We're going to find out tonight. You know what? We're also going to find out if the Indy 500 winner, Helio Castroneves, has a little bit of momentum on his side. That's because Helio is fresh off securing his place in racing history, winning the Indy 500 for a fourth time. To put that in perspective, for most drivers, being able to win that race just once, that is a dream come true. But Helio, he is part of a special group now, winning the Indy 500 four times. All right, my friend, I saw your peers coming over to you when you got to this track. Everyone was excited to congratulate you. But tonight, this is about your rivals, your friends you're racing, a new series, a new car. What is this like?
This is absolutely an honor to be with an incredible group of guys, former champions, and all of a sudden I'm in the middle of it. So this is absolutely great, having this amazing crowd. So I'm still in cloud nine. So it's awesome to be here.
The butterflies, are they different from the Indy 500?
Well, I tell you what, right now it is. So I gotta get ready
Really?
as soon as possible. Of course, I mean, especially that's something completely different. So I'm really eager to learn, and let's see how it goes.
All right, Helio, good luck and congratulations again.
Thank you.
SRX. So guys, you're probably wondering, what exactly does that mean? So it stands for Superstar Racing Experience. What's going to happen tonight? Well, don't worry, we've got you covered. Here's our SRX 101.
SRX. 3 letters that'll ignite your summer. But what is it? Let's break it down. Start with the S, the superstars of the sport. 10 champion drivers who gritted their way to auto racing history, earning titles in IndyCar, NASCAR, sports cars, whatever car you put them in. There's Smoke and Helio, Andretti and Elliott, Waltrip, Kanaan, Labonte, Tracy, a kid named Ernie, plus a side of ribs. Throw in the local track champ and a surprise ringer, and you've got fireworks for 6 straight Saturday nights. The R? It's gonna be racing like you've never seen before. Each champ is behind the wheel of identical, newly designed, incredible cars. Whew, check out that wing. They'll be flying around 6 unique legendary short tracks. Some weeks on asphalt, others on dirt. Most are about a half-mile long. One is even shorter. Format? 2 15-minute timed heats that will set the starting lineup for the 100-lap main event. So there's not much time to make that move. And the X? Let's just say it'll be an experience unlike any other. We'll take you into the driver's seat with no pit stops, no tricks. Just old rivals going all out to see who's best. It's time to crank up summer and go for a ride. This is SRX.
The drivers are all really excited to get this thing started, I can tell you that. The idea of SRX evolved from the roots of IROC, the International Race of Champions. That's a racing series created decades ago to test auto racing's most famous stars. Some of the biggest names, they relish the chance to win in that series. Ray Evernham, one of the core founders of SRX, began his Hall of Fame career as a lead mechanic in that series. He's now with our roaming analyst, NBA All-Star turned race team car owner Brad Doherty. Brad, talk about a night for Ray.
Oh, this is outstanding, Lindsay. I'm here with iconic motorsports legend Ray Evernham, also one of the founders of this series. Ray, 2 years of toiling from conception to inception tonight. Tell us about how you feel, first of all, and what we're going to see.
Well, this is wild. First of all, if we could have built them as fast as you guys, we could have done it in 2 days. That virtual car is really cool. But,
yeah.
Brad, I am so excited. The biggest thank you is all these fans in the stands. And I'm going to tell you, we built these cars so that they were easy to drive, hard to drive fast. And these guys that have been practicing have been getting more and more competitive. It was a lot of fun when we started. So as the night goes on and they're pushing the cars harder, I'm expecting a little contact, and we're going to have to change some sheet metal. Good show, though.
Absolutely. And you're going to be able to make some changes as we go throughout the night. You have complete control of what's going on tonight, correct?
Yes, sir. The drivers are going to be able to make changes. They've got a crew chief in their pit area.
Yep.
There's going to be some breaks. So if the car's not exactly the way they like it, they can change it.
All right. I'll tell you what. So from one iconic legend, Matt, I'm coming to you, and you've got another.
Brad, Tony Stewart's also the final IROC champion back in 2006. He knows all about chasing trophies, but Tony, the atmosphere here, is this more like a high school reunion with all your pals?
Yeah, it's fun. It's the last 2 days have been awesome, and hanging out with all 11 of these guys has been a good time. Kenny Schrader, David Stremme, Ray, all the guys on the SRX crew, and really grateful to everyone at Camping World and all these sponsors that are on the cars that have came and to be a part of this. This is meant to be fun and not to be stressful, and it's been a little bit stressful across the board for a lot of different reasons, but we got great partners, and it's meant to be a fun deal, and everybody's having a great time. So this is the reward, is that we finally get to race these things.
Well, the fun meter is certainly going to be pegged. Due to the draw, Tony will start 5th tonight. Lindsay?
Thank you, Joachim. Yeah, it's time to get this started, guys. To kick things off with the inaugural command to start engines is the man who is the inspiration for the SRX series and Ray Evernham's mentor, former IROC co-owner, racing legend, Jay Signori.
Drivers, start your engines!
Oh, doesn't it sound wonderful? The sound of a short track Saturday night. The engines are fired, and that means it's time to get to the booth. And our team, who will call this race, the first woman ever to win an IndyCar race, Danica Patrick, and legendary announcer who has spent plenty of weekends at this very racetrack during his years, Alan Bestwick. Guys, so excited to call you both teammates tonight, Alan.
Oh, Lindsay, thank you so much, and can't be more excited to be here at Stafford for the inaugural race for SRX. So, Danica, we've heard about the champion drivers, the specially built cars, the format, what's supposed to happen. What do you think's going to happen?
That's the question. That's been the mood around the pits and outside. Everybody's like, what's this going to be like? And that really is true. Like, these cars have never been run. Some of these drivers have never been to this track before. This is definitely more towards like a stock car, so we've got IndyCar drivers out there, ex-IndyCar drivers. I mean, there's all kinds of questions in the air, and we're going to find it all out tonight together.
Yeah, we'll know when we know. You heard Helio Castroneves there a minute ago. Guy that's won the Indianapolis 500 4 times. He's a little bit nervous. You think most of these drivers are nervous?
I guarantee that, because you're strapping in and you're going about it in all of the same ways that you always have. You know, you got a race car, you get strapped in, you get going, you're on TV, and so of course it triggers you in that exact same way that it always has, where you're like, oh my God, here I go. And plus we're on national TV, so of course the juices are going, and of course you're nervous. So what I'm interested to see is if the drivers are going to default to that old system of like, take care of the car, like get to the end, try and win. keep your car clean, or are they really going to have some fun out there? And are they going to give us something to talk about in the booth? Are they going to start, rubbing some racing, Harry, right?
Yeah.
Are they going to start doing that? It's going to be cool. And we've got so many cool cameras on the car and drones, and we're not going to miss a moment of it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So a little unique wrinkle to this Stafford Motor Speedway that faces the drivers. It's a half-mile track. Compare that to Indianapolis, that's 2.5 miles. But both ends of this racetrack are a little bit different.
I think that the one unique thing that I saw about the track when I went out there in the pace car is that there is a seam down on the bottom and then what is like an apron. So for any of those race fans out there who have seen Darlington, it's a little like that where you can get down below it. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to play into the race, if it's going to catch some people off guard with the handling of their car. And if we're going to see 2 lanes of racing, I really, really want to see 2 lanes of racing.
It's going to be interesting. We haven't seen that in practice yet, but nobody's dared try it yet. They have to on the start. So here are the 12 champions. The 12 drivers are superstars in tonight's field. The starting order determined by random draw. So Greg Biffle starts on pole for this, and as you look at this group, what a mix of drivers from NASCAR, from IndyCar, from road racing that we've got here to compete tonight.
The disciplines that they're all coming from do definitely spread in the spectrum of open wheel and then stock car, and they're different cars. I raced both of them a lot, and it will be interesting to see, for me, how the IndyCar drivers transition into it, because it does feel very much a little bit more towards stock car racing. It's also short track with fenders, so very, very NASCAR. It's cool to see some of these older drivers too. I'm really curious to see how they're going to fare when it comes to longevity. Like, some of them are a little older, and so fitness is going to play into it. There's going to be a lot of storylines here.
Got a very interesting mix of drivers. So Marco Andretti drew scratch on the field. We want to try and talk to him?
I do. Let's talk to Marco. Marco, can you hear me? We're on the right channel. Marco, radio check.
Okay, it's opening night, folks.
Yeah, we're getting all the bugs out.
It's all good.
I think that I think this is going to be interesting with the starting grid like it is. The second heat is going to be started with the finish of the first one. So if Marco stays where he's at, he gets to start in the front. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. No one wants to start in the back twice.
So here we go. This is a 15-minute timed heat. Start order determined by random draw. The drivers all have a different color on their cars. That'll stand out to you in the graphics and in our call of the race. And as Danica mentioned, the finishing order of this first heat inverted for the start of the second. So it's 15 minutes, then the leader after the 15-minute mark gets the white flag signal that there's 1 lap to go. 2 years in the making, a sellout crowd, 12 drivers ready to start. The Superstar Racing Experience is green.
Already you're seeing cars down below the apron there. I think you're going to see that play into the race all night long, every race. That definitely helps de-wedge the car and get it to turn. It's also a more racing room.
Bobby Labonte in the teal car on the outside, trying to hang with Greg Biffle. Biffle will lead the very first lap in the gold car. And by the way, Ray Evernham, now the series founder, will exhale because these guys had never been side by side into the corner, and they all came back the first lap intact. So there is first and second. It is Biffle, Labonte, then Ernie Francis Jr. running third. A young driver that's a rising star out of the road racing business. Elio Castroneves settles in line fourth in the car with the big red X. There's Elio. Talk about being out of your comfort zone.
No kidding. Someone that is in his comfort zone, though, Tony Stewart. He's dropped back a couple of spots here. He looks like he's struggling to get the car to turn, perhaps.
There's Tony Stewart, three-time NASCAR champion.
Started fifth.
And up front, Bobby Labonte in the teal car, looking for a way around Greg Biffle. Nice wiggle there off the corner. Now, one of the things these drivers have to do while they're trying to race is they have to understand that the set of tires they started this heat on, well, they've got to make that last for both heats in the entire 100-lap main event.
you know, that's going to be the interesting thing, right? Is somebody going to keep their tires underneath them, or are they going to go for it? Are they going to make something happen? I think someone that you see making something happen, Tony Kanaan, he's running 6th right now in the pink car. He's looking pretty sporty out there.
Labonte looking outside, the crossover inside. There's TK, they call it Magenta. Number 48 car.
Magenta,
Yes.
pink, come on.
Running right behind Paul Tracy. Lime green, number 13. Paul came out here. Paul's known for being really super aggressive, and so you could keep an eye on Paul as it gets toward the later stages of this thing. So I've mentioned Ernie Francis Jr. in the 2, running in 3rd. Young driver from a road racing background. Matt has more.
And racing like a veteran with that mentality during practice, he noticed that his brake temperatures were a little bit too warm compared to Tony Stewart's. So in his mindset, he knows he's got to back off a little earlier going into the corner to make his brakes last longer throughout the night. It's the total package right here on the short tracks, AB.
Yeah, and Ernie, only 23 years old. Why is he in the superstar racing experience? Well, he's age 23. He's won 7 championships in the Trans Am Road Racing Series for muscle cars. He's a road racing prodigy, and he's looking to get some exposure here to maybe work his way up the racing ladder a little more.
And that's the interesting thing we see here. We see drivers that are coming out of retirement after 10 plus years to drive a race car, and then you see other ones that are much younger that are looking to, you know, get their name out there and spark something in their career.
All right, here's a good fight between Tony Kanaan in 6th and Tony Stewart in 7th. Here's one of the fun toys we have for you. You will see drone views that you have never seen covering an auto race before on our Superstar Saturday night. This thing goes 90 miles an hour down the straightaway. I'm talking the drone. The cars, they go a bit faster.
Keeps up pretty well, though.
There's Tony Kanaan beginning to come under some pressure from Tony Stewart behind while he tries to find a way around Paul Tracy. Tracy washes out, and here comes Kanaan to the inside. Stewart right there. Michael Waltrip behind Stewart in the blue car.
This is always the interesting thing when you're trying to pass a car. You got to be careful of what's behind you, because when you lose momentum, the car behind you gets a run. So as Tony was trying to get a run on PT, you could see he lost a little momentum out of turn 2, and then Smoke was right there to perhaps make a move.
So top left of your screen, you see the countdown clock going on. This a timed heat, 15 minutes, and when the leader crosses the start-finish line, first time after that hits 0, the leader gets the white flag, and there'll be 1 lap left to go in the heat. So Bobby Labonte continuing to be there with Greg Biffle. Labonte in the 18, the teal-colored car. Biffle in the 69. Greg, champion in 2 of NASCAR's 3 National Series and a 19-time winner in the Cup level. Running a rock quarry these last several years.
Yeah, I talked to him earlier today, and he was really just excited to get out here and grab a car again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you can see that out there. He's running super strong right behind Biffle. Biffle will definitely be someone that's going to be tough to beat all night. But Bobby Labonte he's putting the pressure on. I mean, he is faster, so it's just difficult to pass. So, you know, here I go again with that storyline. Are we going to start to see people that are going to do things that, again, give us something to talk about out here and are going to keep it fun and playful, or are we going, well, maybe we will, or are people going to keep their cars clean for now?
That is called shutting the door. Tony Stewart tried to pass Tony Kanaan in the pink car. Stewart had to get off the gas. Michael Waltrip in the blue car tried to take advantage, and Stewart said, no, you're not coming through. I'm sorry. Now running right behind Waltrip in the red, white, and blue car, the patriotic colors. One of the special features of the Superstar Racing experience is a local hero at this track, at each track along the way, gets to race with the Superstars. Here's your local hero tonight. He is Doug Coby. He is a 41-year-old from Milford, Connecticut, as they mix it up right in front of him. Multiple-time track champion here at Stafford, and he's getting to race out here with Indianapolis 500 winners and Daytona 500 winners. Advantage is he's got thousands of laps on this racetrack, and he hopes to put on a good showing and represent the Speedway and all of his fellow local competitors really well tonight.
Got Paul Tracy dropping like a fly here. Looks like Kanaan got by him. and so did Tony Stewart. So wonder what's going on with PT right now.
He kind of got a little out of control down there in turn 1 and might maybe just got shuffled to the outside. There's Kobe underneath with a low move off of turn number 2 coming at you. While up front, Greg Biffle continues to hang on over Bobby Labonte. There's Kobe getting a spot on Michael Waltrip. So put the local guy up to 8th place. Andretti in the black-winged car, and Bill Elliott in the purple machine. Racing back for 10th and 11th place. Elliott looking for a little racing room that may not be there.
I'm sure it's pretty fun for him to get back in a car again after so long and not being in a car, but obviously having such success in NASCAR. And seeing his son, Chase Elliott, win the championship last year. Maybe it got him going again.
Yeah, well, Bill is 65 years old, and since he walked into the gates here, he has had the Bill Elliott smile you remember from like 1985. Wide, wide, wide. He's having a blast here. And right now trying to find a way around Marco Andretti.
These cars are holding up pretty well. I know there was such a question, how is it going to go? But Ray Evernham has done an incredible job with these cars, and they look pretty fun
got a
out
spin,
there.
turn number 2. Paul Tracy tried to shut the door, and caution flag will wave. Michael Waltrip was not going to have the door shut on him again. And did Marco Andretti collide there with Tracy in the smoke screen?
I think he was pushing Marco out of the way.
Well, our first yellow.
Here's a look at what happened. I'm going to say that PT got spun. Michael spun him. This is the kind of stuff we were waiting to see, right? We were waiting to see if people were going to get rough, and you know, he did not have the pass done, Waltrip, and then PT just came down and, you know, didn't leave him any room. So they both could have probably avoided that, but it's more fun if you don't sometimes.
One of the tricks to this for these drivers, if you're used to watching NASCAR or IndyCar, they have a spotter high on the track somewhere relaying things like somebody's to your inside on the radio. You don't have that here. It's up to you in your rearview mirror to avoid situations like that.
There are some drivers here that don't even remember what it's like to drive without a spotter. So I think this is a really cool element that has been made a rule.
Yep, be fun. There's your first damage of the Superstar Racing experience. It belongs to Paul Tracy's car.
Camping World is here to fuel your outdoor adventures. From the hottest outdoor gear and equipment to just released brand new RVs, we have everything you need to kick off your outdoor adventure at our over 175 locations nationwide. Right now, you can drive away in a new RV for as little as $5 a day and save up to 40% off RV and outdoor gear. Head into your local Camping World or visit us online at campingworld.com today.
It's time for Sleep Number's summer sale on the Sleep Number 360 smart bed. It's the most comfortable, body sensing, automatically responding, energy building, dually adjustable, dad powering, wellness boosting, foot warming, temperature balancing, recovery assisting, effortlessly life-changing, proven quality night's sleep we've ever made. Save up to $500 on select Sleep Number 360 smart beds, plus 0% interest for 48 months and free premium delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday.
There are many reasons for waiting to visit your doctor right now. But if you're experiencing irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait to contact your doctor, because these symptoms could be signs of a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which could make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so this is no time to wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
So with your home and auto bundle, you'll save money and get round-the-clock protection.
Sounds great.
Sure does.
Shouldn't something, wacky be happening right now? We thought people could use a break. We've all been through a lot this year. That makes sense. Yeah. So, Now's not a good time. 3/5 of in sync.
Are you sure? You have us booked all day?
Read the room, guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Camping World SRX Series on CBS is sponsored by Camping World, America's #1 RV dealer, and by Progressive. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance.
What a beautiful night in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. The inaugural race of the Superstar Racing Experience. Paul Tracy has the distinction of bringing out the first caution, and you see that's a pretty good bit of damage on the front end of that SRX machine. So
you can see them taking the front off, obviously having to rip body work off. They knew this was coming, but that looks like a radiator in the front. I'm really curious the extent of this damage. Matt Yoakum, do you have any report on that?
Well, Jamie Tomato Jr., you see the gentleman that had the Sawzall changing batteries now, trying to cut away more of the debris. They've taken out the shaker screen, which is the screen that goes in front of the radiator to try to shake the debris off so it doesn't plug up the radiator. They're just trying to cut away the parts and pieces right now, surveying more damage here on the 13.
All right, Matt, thanks. So we are on the one to go.
Radiator's good.
This was a race for 8th position, gone bad. Now, did Marco Andretti get any damage to the front of his car when he and Tracy made that contact in the cloud of smoke? Doesn't look like it's bad. Marco did not come to pit road under this yellow. And they're doubled up, and the pace car pulls off, and we're ready to go back racing again.
Let's see if they can get through 1 and 2 one more time. If not, that's okay. I think we're going to see the cars continue to get more and more racy all night as these drivers get used to racing them, to making a couple changes before the feature. I think you're going to see people finding out how to test the limits more and more, not only with the car itself, but with each other.
Yep. How about your Indy 500 winner, Helio Castroneves, with that outside pass on Ernie Francis for 3rd place. So the red number 3 up to that podium position. Helio is so funny talking to him about doing this. You know, you come from Indianapolis, a place you've won, you know, and you get in something that he's never driven on a track this small, ever. And of course, the braking is totally different with these cars than the Indy car. And he said, yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Well, there he is, running 3rd.
You're talented, you're talented. You know, as I look back the field, I see smoke there. It's 3 wide coming out of turn 2. It looked like he has Elliott and maybe Colby that was nearby. Colby's ahead of him, but Elliott was underneath him. That was getting pretty racy there. Now you're looking at, they're coming right down to the end. This is the last lap. You're looking at guys at the very back. They're thinking to themselves probably, if I lose this spot, this is one more spot to start further up in the next race. But it looks like Biffle has control of this race. He's got a lot of short track experience, and it's showing here tonight as he comes across the line for the win. No, one lap to go.
Yeah, the white flag waves when they come after the clock expires. So now the final lap.
We're all learning together.
Yeah, it's a new format. Bobby the Body chasing Greg Biffle as he has right from the start of this one, with Castroneves in 3rd. And the first checkered flag of the Camping World SRX Series will belong to Greg Biffle. Biffle with 19 wins in his NASCAR Cup career, none on a short track. But he's got one on a short track tonight in the first of our 2 heats at Stafford.
That's a shocking statistic.
Stand by, we'll have more as the night goes on.
We're going to keep making memories here
Making
tonight.
history. All right, so we had a bump, a bang, a crunch, and a winner. By that much, Greg Biffle over Bobby Labonte at the end of heat number 1.
Welcome back to the Camping World SRX Series. So our first heat is in the books. Greg Biffle, the winner. Before the start of this race, Biffle was standing along the side with his 9-month-old son Ryder just resting his head on his shoulder. Biffle saying he was nervous to get out there because this is a huge deal to him. He's now standing by with our Matt Yoakum. Yoakum?
So Greg Biffle makes history as the first winner in SRX, but this was the battle. You're still chasing the war. What do you need to do to this car to make it better looking ahead at tonight?
Well, I was pretty tight, a corner right in the center of the corner, pretty tight. So I think as the night goes on, that's going to amplify. They say the track loosens up. I'm hoping that happens because I saw Bobby Labonte breathing down my neck. Now I have to start at the back. So now I'm going to see what it drives like in traffic. That tightness, I'm really worried about it now. We'll see.
All right, he wants to make an air pressure change to try to help that balance, and it's all a work in progress, Lindsay.
Thank you, Matt. The fans, they've been so excited to see 4-time Indy 500 champion Helio Castroneves in his first race since his huge win. We tagged along, though, with Helio to see what his life is like behind the scenes. And let me tell you something, if you have kids, you're going to be super impressed with what Helio keeps in his journal.
Welcome to the 4-time club, Helio Castroneves! I cannot believe it! Woo!
When you're doing for so many years one thing, you just focus on that. And now having Michaela and Adriana, my priorities change a lot. So I couldn't be here and be happy the way I am without them.
When he enters the door, he's not a race car driver, he's Helio. So sometimes he gets mad at me, and I give him a hard time because I said, you're not a star. And he's like, of course I'm a star. I'm like, no. Here you're not a star.
Every time I come back home, I give her pants back. So here you go, honey, this is your pants. But she is an incredible person, huge heart.
The thing that I admire the most is since she was born, he tries to be engaged with her and do everything, like doing her hair. This is a funny story. When we went to the first checkup, we go to the pediatrician together, right, with Michaela, and he takes out like a little book. He had every single bowel movement, feed, how many ounces she drank. The pediatrician was like, oh, this is so cute, but it's not necessary, don't worry.
She's 11, so the dad's joke is not going well anymore. So it's kind of like going downhill. That was my good thing here, But I try to help in everything I can. I'm good on PE. I remember, especially in the pandemic, we had to do PE. But I got fired because I was too strong. So I thought I was doing well, but I guess not. I guess she fired me. It's actually good. I love to be around the house because we travel so much that sometimes being out of the house is kind of like therapy. It's peaceful, you look for stuff, you're trying to fix the things.
So when he's home, we do everything together. And it's fun, it's so much fun. Sometimes he's home for a long time, and I'm like, okay, when are you traveling? Isn't it time for you to travel again?
What the heck? Being a dad, there are so many different situations that it feels like in a race car. But I tell you what, when you get the I love you, Dad, and a big hug and a big kiss, it feels like just winning the 500 again.
Helio Castroneves, meticulous about everything. Someone else who is meticulous is our Brad Doherty. Brad, what are you hearing about what drivers are doing to these cars now?
Well, Lindsay, they've only got a handful of adjustments, and the biggest thing right now with Willie T. Ribbs, Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott, pressure. Adding a little bit of air to that right rear tire to help the car turn a little bit better in the corner. I think these guys will be able to march their way to the front with a little bit of air for a little cushion to lean on. So expect this next heat to be much more exciting.
Thank you, Brad. Tomorrow on CBS, it is PGA Tour action with some of the world's best competing at the Palmetto Championship at Congaree. Live coverage beginning tomorrow at 3 Eastern. The PGA Tour is on CBS. We've got much more to come from Stafford Motor Speedway. Stick with us. Superstar Saturday Night continues.
think it's something we're all looking forward to, is that big difference in age and backgrounds.
Bill Elliott. He's the reason that I watched NASCAR to begin with.
It's exciting to compete against people half my age. I can learn from them as much as they can learn from me.
Guys like Elio Castroneves, Tony Stewart, Tony Kanaan, these are guys that I have watched race growing up.
Ernie Francis, he's young enough to be my grandkid.
Me and Willie T were laughing about, I guess we're the two senior citizens of this bunch.
The older guys still want to show, hey, we can still do this. The younger guys are like, hey, I want to beat my hero, or I'm going to kick his butt, and that's what you're going to see.
And welcome back. I can tell you a lot of those older guys have a great sense of humor about who they're going up against on a night of stars. Earlier tonight, our Wheels Up honorary pace car driver was former UConn men's basketball coach and local legend, Jim Calhoun. Calhoun arrived at Stafford to a hearty reception. He climbed into the 34 Ford pace car for the historic start to our SRX series. Obviously appreciative of Wheels Up and their help getting people to and from this race. But for Jim Calhoun, this is the night to not only be celebrated, but to take in the action. There he is in the pace car. I can tell you guys from experience riding in that pace car, what a treat. It's time to go back up to the booth now. Alan and Danica, guys, what from your vantage point, what have you observed?
Well, part of the difficulty in answering that question is we don't know who was playing the game of the invert, because now to start this second heat, the finishing order from the first one was flipped. Danica, you were talking to me about, well, Tony Stewart, he looked like he was struggling, and I said to you, yes, but was he? And that's the question, right?
You said, was he saving his tires? And because they have to use the same tires the entire night, so that's something to consider. But I really do think that everyone was probably putting their best out there, and it looks like a little tricky to pass, which is why I think it's going to keep getting more exciting. I think people are going to start to feel the limit of the tire, feel the limit of the car, feel the limit of their patience.
Yep. So to get this second heat underway, as I mentioned, we flipped the field, so the guy who finished last goes first. And that will be Paul Tracy, who took all that damage in the one accident we had. He gets to start, as you see it across the top of the screen, the scoring. He gets to start first in this second heat. Now, the big movers in the first race were Doug Colby, the local hero, and Marco Andretti, who picked up 4 positions in that heat. So you see where they play out in the lineup to start this second one. Marco will go off from 5th position in heat number 2. Colby going green from 7th. How far forward can the guys in the back go now that there's a real urgency to do so? Biffle, Labonte, and so on. Because how you start the main event is based on how you finish in this second heat. So, be interesting to see how it plays out. Matt, talk about Marco Andretti for a minute.
During that break, he and his all-star crew chief, Jeff Hammond, surveyed the damage to that nose of the 98. Remember, he was also involved with that incident with Paul Tracy. There's a crack around the front of that fascia, but they surveyed it, said let's hold off until the break. That way they wouldn't have to give up this position by going to the work area and start work early. Brad?
Yeah, man, I had a chance to talk to Willie T, and he said his race car just simply wouldn't turn until he got a lot of heat in the tires. At the end of that run, he got a little bit better. I told him, you're going to start up front. The cavalry's going to be coming. He said, bring them on, baby. He's ready to rumble.
See? People are getting, their feathers are getting ruffled. I think it's gonna get a lot better. I think people were really, in practice today, they're getting more comfortable and they're getting more, brave. But, when they were out in practice today on their primary car that they were gonna run for the race tonight, which was different than what they ran yesterday when they got a little bit of practice and they got more practice yesterday. They only got out there and they got 4 laps, 4 timed laps. Then they came in and it was 4 cars at a time. Then they'd come in and they'd run in cycles and they got 2 runs at it. So they got 8 laps in their primary car on track at speed before they hit the track here for the race tonight. So people are still figuring things out.
By the way, pretty cool pace car. That 34 Ford with all kinds of lights on it. If you watch when the caution is on, it flashes red, yellow, and white. When it gets to 1 to go, it flashes to red, white, and blue. So that should be interesting. And by the way, the pace car driver for the SRX series is Johnny Benson, former Cup driver.
An old spotter of mine.
John
he spotted for me back in the day a couple times. He did a great job. He's a great driver.
John's a good one. So a couple more laps before they turn him loose, and a couple of people to keep an eye on. Bill Elliott had the fastest lap of that first heat. he had the fastest timed lap.
Well, how about that?
And he was back toward the end of the field, so we'll see now if he's up toward the front here, starting 4th in this second heat, if Awesome Bill can awesome his way to the front.
Is that what they called him? Awesome Bill?
Yeah, that was the nickname.
Well, that makes sense.
All right, so we're on the 1 to go lap, and you can tell that because the lights have changed color on the pace cards, red, white, and blue now. So we're ready to send them off again. Same thing, 15 minutes after the clock expires. The next time the leader comes by, the white flag goes, and it's the last lap. Difference is this time, how you finish in this heat is where you start in the main event. Here they come. Paul Tracy with that repaired car and Willie T. Ribbs on the front row. Green flag. We're racing again at Stafford. Oh, they're going to mix it up here.
Look at Waltrip go.
Michael Waltrip looking to get to the front in a hurry in that blue car. Waltrip, the new leader.
A little bit of a slide job, a little bit of a dive bomb or a slide job. I know the drivers were talking about how it's really tight in the center of the corner, which means it doesn't want to turn. So naturally, you go into the corner a little bit harder, it's going to make that even worse. So you slide up, but you know what? You clear them, get some space, and Michael Waltrip is running away right now.
Trying to leg it out. The two-time Daytona 500 winner out in front. Paul Tracy trying to hang on to second. Third is Willie T. Ribbs, followed by Tony Stewart and Bill Elliott. Here's that challenge and pass for the lead.
So you can see how he set him up. He was a little bit wide in the middle of 3 and 4 and then was able to get the car turned and get on the power, probably full throttle sooner, obviously, than PT did, and he got the run down the front straightaway and got by him.
Tony Stewart shut off, looking to the outside of turn number 2 for a spot on Willie T. Ribbs as we ride along with the race leader. Here's the big knot here. Stewart in the orange car. Doug Coby in the red, white, and blue car. Bill Elliott in the purple car. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Doug Coby leaning on Tony just a little bit in the middle of 1 and 2. Oh, I think did Coby get tapped a little bit there? I saw his car look like it wasn't going quite the right direction in the middle of the corner. I mean, this is what we're going to start seeing more of. People bumping, moving people out of the way.
That is Bill Elliott to his inside.
Leaning on his left rear. You know, aerodynamics are not going to play as much of a role here, and that's kind of the fun thing about a short track is that if the car gets a little bumped around, if there's bodywork damage, it doesn't really matter.
Little contact.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you back that corner up a little bit earlier than that, and you just kind of don't slow down as much, and that's called taking someone out. So you can see that people are still not doing that, but that was right there for the taking.
They're your biggest movers since the start of this second heat. Stewart and Coby looking most interesting to me as they run in this line right now. Coby putting pressure on Stewart, just ahead of you there. As Doug Coby runs in 5th spot, Matt.
Now, Alan, you're from the Northeast. You know in the wintertime when you go to tap the brakes in the snow and it just wants to slide forward, the brakes lock up. That's what these guys are experiencing when the car is tight. They go into the corner, they start to take a set and hit the brakes, and it just wants to slide forward up out of the groove. That's what Doug Coby is experiencing. If you watch, he'll move up a little more in the center of 1 and 2 because that's the area that he's struggling the most.
Now he's moving around trying to find a way to use his local track knowledge to get around a 3-time Cup champion in Tony Stewart. So Doug Coby, who is he? What makes his participation in tonight special for him? Let's hear from the man.
I'm Doug Coby from the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. There's no community that rallies around its drivers more than the asphalt modified community, and that's because we all kind of carry the same chip on our shoulder. When you're a short tracker and you've raced your whole life, really the only thing you're ever looking for is to kind of be included in something. It's going to be exciting to see these cars on a track like Stafford. You're talking about some of the best drivers in the world that have thousands of laps on some amazing tracks all across the globe. And I might have 10,000 laps at Stafford, and I'll take that little bit of an advantage because for me, I've been able to find success there weekly, and I'm going to use every trick in the book I know to throw it at these guys. It doesn't matter what you've won or where you've raced. It matters how good you are that night on that track, and that's my track. I think I can get as aggressive as I need to be and throw punches with the best of them if I need to. So that's the theme of the night for me is one shot, no second chance, make the most of it. These opportunities don't come around too often, so I'm ready to go.
There are 100 of these local Saturday night racetracks and more scattered across America, and 1,000 guys like Doug Coby looking to have a shot to race against their heroes. Doug said he feels the responsibility to represent them all well here tonight, and he's had his hands full out there. That's Bill Elliott getting into him.
Bill remembers how to race.
Yes, he does.
You know who I'm really impressed with, though, is Willie T. Ribbs. He is hanging on. He's in third right now, and he's got smoke behind him, just putting the pressure on. He didn't have a great finish in the first heat, but he's looking pretty good. He's got some Muhammad Ali fight in him. Isn't that his favorite guy?
Yes, he does. Willie T. Ribbs, 66 years old, and trained to come do this with these guys by boxing.
That's
doing
right.
his boxing training. Willie driving car number 17. That's the number of wins he had in the famed Trans Am series. And right now, after getting knocked around a little bit in the first couple corners of this heat, is holding his own, though he's under pressure from Tony Stewart. Manages to hang on. Willie T. Ribbs, boxing? Well, yeah, and he's got kind of a long history of that.
I follow boxing, and I always have, and train that way. When Ali influenced me to start training, he said to me, he says, when a fighter is out of shape, he can get hurt. That's the same with driving a race car. SRX is going to be demanding as hell. It's going to be long and grueling.
Just in case I win, I want to be able to get up on the car and do the alley shuffle, just in case I win.
Something Willie has done in his past victories. And Willie, you can tell he has that boxer's mentality when you talk to him. He talks the talk, and then he says, watch me, I'm going to walk the walk.
He does. He's got that confidence. He's got local track hero here, Doug Coby, leaning on him. He had smoke before that. He stood his ground with smoke. We'll see how he does with Coby, but yeah. I'm impressed with Willie T. I think he's doing a really good job. But I tell you what, with Waltrip this far out in front, let's see if maybe a caution might come out.
7.5 minutes left in heat number 2 on Superstar Saturday night.
All right, guys, no insurance talk on beach day.
I'm down.
Yes, please.
Don't get me wrong, I love my RV, but insuring it is such a hassle.
Same with my boat. The insurance bills are through the roof.
Be cool.
I wish I could group my insurance stuff. Like the house, the car, the RV.
Like a cluster. An insurance cluster.
Yeah, I doubt that exists.
It's a bundle! It's a bundle and it saves you money! Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive and I couldn't help it over here. Super fun beach day, everybody.
Hi, Verizon launched the first 5G network, and now we want to be the first to give everyone the joy of 5G by giving every customer a new 5G phone on us. Old customers, new customers, families, businesses, in-laws, law firms. Every customer, new 5G phones when you trade in your old ones. And if you're not a customer, we'll help cover the cost to switch. Just ask Wanda. She's been with us since now. Upgrade your phone, upgrade your network.
Is now a good time for a flare-up?
Enough, Crohn's.
For adults with moderate to severe Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, Stelara can provide relief and is the only approved medication to reduce inflammation on and below the surface of the intestine in UC.
You getting on that flight? Back off, UC.
Stelara may increase your risk of infection, some serious, and cancer. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, sores, new skin growths, have had cancer, or if you need a vaccine. PRAS, a rare potentially fatal brain condition, may be possible. Some serious allergic reactions and lung inflammation can occur.
Lasting remission can start with Stelara. If you've been financially impacted by COVID-19, Janssen may be able to help.
Does your vitamin C last 24 hours? Only Nature's Bounty does. New Immune 24 Hour Plus has longer-lasting vitamin C, plus herbal and other immune superstars. Only from Nature's Bounty.
Opening night for the Camping World SRX Series from Stafford Motor Speedway in Connecticut is under caution for the second time. The damage total grows after a couple cars got involved, and it all started with Willie T. Ribbs, now on pit road with damage on that number 17 car after getting spun around in turn number 3. All right, let's see what happened. Oh, he didn't even get any help. Look at the brake blow on the front brakes. And in the aftermath, with cars stacking up behind, that's Greg Biffle and Helio Castroneves who had contact. Look at the front rotor, the left front rotor. I mean, he had those brakes glowing red, trying to get it stopped.
Doesn't he know? Just get off the brake and let the car push. These things don't want to turn anyway. You also don't know how hard he's been leaning on that right rear tire. And, you know, I mean, he had a lot of pressure for a long time. And so we're going to get a view here from Helio. Ooh. That's going to leave a mark. More bodywork damage, something they're prepared for. I mean,
oh boy.
I think we need a report from Brad down in pit road.
Yeah, Danica, I just spoke to Willie, and he said just a little bit too much brake bias getting in, and he just overcooked it a little bit. Got a little bit of air pressure in that right rear tire before we started this heat, so it had it turning very, very well. You saw Willie doing a great job. He said as the brakes got hot, it just started to come around on him. So they got a little rear end damage, and I think they can fix it and get it back out. Matt, what do you have on your end?
Up here in the repair area, bad news for Greg Biffle fans. Apparently, they've holed the oil tank. Also, some chassis components are broken up under the left rear of the car.
So Biffle will not complete heat number 2, though every effort will be made to repair that car to start the main event, and there are some backup cars available if the Biff should need it. Well, as Greg gets unbuckled and gets ready to get out, the big lead Michael Waltrip had, erased now by this caution as the clock winds down to 3 minutes to go in this second heat. Waltrip got away from Paul Tracy for the lead, and it looked like Tracy may be struggling a little bit with that damaged car. Now he's got everybody doubled up around him, and it's going to be a really interesting restart, I think, with time running out in this second heat.
All these spots matter this time. You know, this is the start for the feature. But I honestly, I think Waltrip just looked fast. I think he was just out there. He had clean air. He had no pressure. He got a good jump, and he just started running away with it. He looked very comfortable.
Hey, new Thursday, Agent Clarice Starling is brilliant, vulnerable, and ready to dive into the minds of monsters and madmen. The silence is over, but the secrets are only beginning. A new Clarice, Thursday at 10/9 Central, or stream anytime on CBS. Doubled up, ready to go. So we have lost Willie T. Ribbs and Helio Castroneves from this heat race. Greg Biffle's car is out for the night. We'll see what that means for his status for the main event. And they're doubled up now with inside of 2 minutes to go. And how you finish in this heat determines where you start in the main event. These should be an interesting last, 5-6 laps here.
We've got Waltrip who ran away with it, and Kobe, track champ. Let's see how this goes.
Paul Tracy to the outside of Michael Waltrip to turn 1.
Waltrip looks great.
Tony Stewart getting bumped and banged. There's Bill Elliott in the purple car inside of Stewart in the orange machine. A little nudge up the racetrack in turn 4.
Kobe leaning on PT. He was bumping him all the way through 3 and 4. Got him just out of shape enough to be able to get by down the front straight into 1.
So the local hero up to second place. Now Tony Stewart clears Bill Elliott. He'll go to work on Paul Tracy. Stewart in the orange car to turn 3. Excuse me, coming through.
You might have been right about that first heat saving his tires.
Here's Bill Elliott by Tracy to move up a spot. Now Doug Coby all over Michael Waltrip for the race lead as we come down inside the final minute of heat number 2.
Oh wow, you watched him just close on Waltrip on the brakes into 3. That kind of screams dive bomb to me. When you can see that you've got him on in the braking zone, it really makes you think, maybe I should just pull out just before the braking zone to the inside and make a move.
He's got a run on the 2-time Daytona 500 winner. Coby to the outside, Waltrip to the inside. Fans come to their feet. This is for the lead.
All you have to do is hang on to that right rear. When you get side by side in these cars, you just have to hang on to the corner. And I tell you what, when you get pinched down low, it is so much harder to turn. It is also so much harder to put the power down. So the higher lane works. If there's enough grip, it wins, usually.
These fans are on their feet as their local hero takes the lead. White flag, 2 more corners for Michael Waltrip to try and get back by. Checkered flag and a big heat race win for local driver Doug Coby.
All right, we saw some more wheel-to-wheel action out there. We saw a little bit more bumping. I think this is the start of a beautiful thing here for this 100-lap feature that we're going to have very shortly.
The smile that must be on that guy's face. As mentioned, there are thousands of guys who race on Saturday nights all across America every week. Doug Coby feels like he represents them all here. And listen to the roar.
Don't do a burnout though, Doug, okay?
Hey, you're not done yet. Coby wins heat number 2 at Stafford.
It is CBS Superstar Saturday Night presents SRX Series. We have finished the first 2 heats. Here are the results. You guys should have heard this crowd. They were on their feet. They were screaming for the local all-star, Doug Coby, who just won that second heat. Now we're in the refuel break. Brad Doherty is going to explain exactly what these drivers are able to do and what can happen during this refuel break. Brad?
Yeah, Lindsay, this is absolutely genius, and that's what the word that rhymes with Ray Evernham. He's got a rolling fuel system, so 2 by 2, they go to each race car and they fuel it. Not to get too technical, it's a recycled system, so there's 5 gallons of gas, he puts it in, it dumps it into the fuel cell, 2 cars at a time, they roll through. Once everyone's refueled, there'll be a 5-minute window to work on these race cars where you can adjust air pressure, wedge, or either put a spring rubber in the spring. So this is absolutely on the money and on time, an interesting system. Matt, what do you have?
Well, the guy that short trackers all across America are pulling for tonight, Doug Coby. You scored the win in heat race number 2. Your buddies have been giving you suggestions about different things to try for tonight. Is the plan coming together?
So far so good, I guess. You know, we're going to start up front here in the feature, and track position is going to be everything. So I wanted to use up a little bit of the car just to make sure I could start up front and hopefully dictate the race and the pace of the 100 laps. And Mike and I are talking right now, my crew chief Mike Beam, we're talking about what little changes we can make so we don't screw it up, because that's typically how it goes in short track racing. You got a good enough car to win, and then you make a little change and then you fall back. So I want to make sure that we make a small change maybe, but not much. I think these cars are going to be a little bit of a handful as the race wears on. The tire wear's kind of playing into my strategy. So we'll see how it goes. Just like any other Saturday night short track race, we're going to give it all we got for 100 laps, and hopefully the local guy comes out on top ahead of all these superstars.
And Lindsay, that small change he was talking about, a slight air pressure change in the right front.
All right, Yoakum. Yeah, well, Doug Coby can tell you that this short track, Stafford Motor Speedway, has been an institution here in New England for more than 150 years. For more now on its legacy, here is Progressive at the track.
Stafford Speedway is a really cool track. It was originally built in 1870, not with cars, with ponies. Half-mile dirt trolley that came directly from the city to Stafford. It's been around for over 150 years. A lot of talented drivers have got their start here. It's kind of just small town America. It's really the soul of the sport. My grandfather bought it in 1970. I'm the third generation operator of the track, and I hope it goes on for another couple generations. These guys in the SRX series have probably never come across a track this style. It's narrow, the walls come up on you really quick. Eats cars up at times, but it puts on a great show. There's an outside lane, but it's only for the bravest of the drivers. You can go up there, but very tough, very tricky, very technical, heavy braking in the corners. Drive it down the straight, mash on the brake, and then get to the center and just drive it off. The fans are gonna be treated to amazing action. Stafford's your typical small town America. It's kind of a town that's gone through the booms, the busts. But at the end of the day, Friday rolls around and we flip the lights on, the whole town comes out to be at the track and cheer on local drivers.
I can tell you they're 10,000 strong here in attendance to watch. That's how important this race is tonight to this town. Fans were waiting at the gates to get in as soon as they opened. It was such a cool thing to see. Matt Yoakum, I understand you were standing by with some news on Greg Biffle.
Well, back behind the wall, owner Ray Evernham has called an audible here, and they're going to put Greg Biffle in one of the backup cars. Now remember, these drivers were all fitted for their seats, so Biffle has his seat insert. They took it out of his primary car, they put it in here, now they're going through, hooking up the radio harness and getting him fitted. They're going to adjust the steering column here real quick. As you go on board, taking a look at what happened to Greg Biffle in that 69 machine. And then, as you can see, he's sitting in the race car right now, getting him fitted up. But this is one of the cool things about this series, excitement, getting ready for that final 100 lapper, Brad.
Yeah, I'm standing here with Ray Evernham. Ray, interesting heat races to say the least. A lot going on. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with Greg Biffle and what's going to happen with him, and what are your impressions after these first two heat races?
The rear end got knocked over in his car. You know, a short track broke the track bar. Knocked a hole in the oil tank, though. We're going to put Greg Biffle in the backup car. Our goal is we want all 12 guys, just all 12 guys to start the race for these race fans. So right now, you know, I think there were a lot of guys saving some tires and stuff. I don't know what happened over here. Didn't see it, but, you know, we've got everybody patched up. You know, aerodynamics don't mean a lot on these cars, so chassis are right. We're going to start 12 cars in this main event. We're going to give them a 5-minute break right now to patch them up, get the drivers cooled down in more ways than one, and start over again.
All right, Ray, thank you so much. Lindsay, looks like we're going to go racing with a full field. 100 laps coming up shortly.
I don't know how Ray Evernham's nerves are going to be at the end of this night. That's what I want to know. I want the report on that. All right, well, when you're talking about accomplished drivers at this racetrack, you've also got to talk about Tony Stewart, and he's as accomplished as he is outspoken, but Tony is also one of the 4 founders of the SRX series, so he truly loves this opportunity to put this kind of racing together. For more on Tony Stewart, here we go.
Everything as far back as I can remember revolved around racing and motorsports. I started racing go-karts when I was 8, and I remember getting the chance to go and run practice laps in another kid's kart. I just remember how excited I was about doing it. A couple weeks later, a racing cart shows up in our backyard, and then that was the start of my career. If it had 4 wheels and went fast and had a cool paint job on it, I wanted to be a part of it. I'm not just proud of one thing I've done in my career. I'm proud of all the things that I've done in my career. Different cars, different series, different track surfaces. All of that combined has made me who I am. Being a track owner and a series owner and a car owner, that was never my main focus. My main focus was always trying to be the best race car driver I could be. But I also know there's a lot more to my legacy in motorsports than just driving the race cars.
It was easy to recruit Tony Stewart as a partner, and Tony jumped in immediately, and he's pushed really hard behind the scenes to help make it happen.
This is something that needs to be back in motorsports from what the Signori family did years ago with IROC. But this is IROC with a supercharged twist to it. We have the ability to sit there and take everything that we like about what we've all witnessed and lived in motorsports and tried to take the best ideas and create the best product for SRX. I've never had the opportunity to race with Paul Tracy and Willie T. Ribbs, Ernie Francis. I mean, there's cool guys that if it weren't for SRX, I never would have the opportunity to race with these guys. I think that part's pretty damn cool. I mean, that's what SRX is about, is putting the best personalities and drivers together and getting a chance to sit there and go, man, if I had the opportunity, I'd have kicked this guy's butt. Well, now we get to find out.
Yes, we do. Hall of Famer Tony Stewart, he's got a drive for competition like no other. So a lot of drivers right now making changes. Brad Doherty, who are you with?
Yeah, I'm down here with Michael Waltrip. Man, Michael, you were putting on a show. You checked out on him until that caution. Tell us a little bit about your evening.
Well, Brad, my butt hurts, my foot hurts, my leg's cramping, I'm hot, and I'm old. And I didn't realize any of that until that guy passed me, and then all of it set in immediately. I just tried to get too low off, too. There's a lot of grip down there, and I was making it work, and I just wanted to learn more, and I tried to get too low and got sideways, and then Doug ate me up.
Well, Doug got by you, but, man, great racing. Just tell me this, so you've got to be having a blast doing this.
Well, when I was looking out the windshield and there wasn't nobody ahead of me, I said, damn, I remember these days. They were quite special. It was a great feeling. It's a great competition. I'm really thankful to be a part of it.
Hey, Michael Waltrip, watch him in this 100-lap feature. I'm telling you, he could be the guy, Matt.
Oh, I think you got to keep an eye on the 48. TK, Tony Kanani, runs a stock car down in Brazil part-time, so that's helped to pick up the learning curve. I walked up and you said I'm having a blast, but you're going for the checker. What do you need to do to the car to make it better?
I think, man, we need to survive right now, and there's a couple lanes out there. I'm experimenting a little bit, but I mean, what a fun race. I hope you guys are enjoying back home. I mean, this is awesome. This is for the fans. Look how many people we have here. I think I just need to run. 100 laps is going to be a long race now, and it was a good fight. So we'll see. I've been starting at the 6 and 7 every race, so we're going to try to move up a bit.
I think you can easily see that big smile through that full-face helmet.
That big smile, and Joachim, I know you gotta love the honesty these guys are sharing. It's so great. My butt hurts, my feet hurt from Michael Waltrip. It's terrific. Camping World SRX Series on CBS will continue in just a moment. Stick with us. We've got the feature coming up just ahead. Camping World wants to show you how to travel this summer. So here we are. It's that time, the main event right around the corner. We've seen a lot of action tonight. We saw Greg Biffle, the guy that a lot of his fellow drivers expected to do well. Also the local all-star winning a heat. We want to send it right now to Alan and Danica in the booth. Guys, we've seen some sensational racing.
Yeah, it's a really interesting leaderboard at the front of the grid. And we've heard a couple of different viewpoints expressed down there in these interviews about what's been going on, who's hanging back, who's showing it all, who's used up too much. How do you see it?
I think they've been playing it safe.
Yeah.
Meaning, I thought that they would be leaning on each other more. I thought they'd crash a little bit more. I mean, we've seen a little bit more progressively have. So I think that will continue to trend. And I think that you're going to see that happen more and more all the time. But yeah, I think a few less crashes than I thought there'd be. What do you think?
On the give and take meter, there's been a little more give than take, but that's going to change.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think?
As closer we get to lap 100, yes, it'll be all take and no give. They'll take it very seriously. Our progressive race summary so far. Greg Biffle won the first heat, got crashed out of the second. The local guy got through to the front to win heat number 2. And Doug Colby leading the field in spots gained. And by the way, talking to all the other drivers in the field besides Doug, that's not a surprise. He looked really good in practice. So they're on the racetrack. The engines are fired up. We're lining up. The social media is lighting up on Superstar Saturday night. Here's an interesting question from Denny Hamlin. Backup cars available nice. Wonder if those backup cars have fresh tires on them. Denny, the answer is Greg Biffle's car has 39 lap old tires, scuff tires with 39 laps on them. So no, they're not new.
They really are keeping it fair.
Doing their very best.
I mean, but that is a great question because the difference between new tires and old tires is a really big one. So it's good that they have that option to be able to put that on. of course, as a driver, you're thinking to yourself, okay, like 39 old lap tires from today, or like 39 lap old tires from a different weekend, because that also makes a really big difference.
Yeah,
it's
well,
probably from yesterday.
Since this is the first race weekend, they can't be from any more than yesterday, right?
I think it's probably from yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. So a starting lineup for our main event coming across the top of your screen. There'll be 2 pace laps, and then we'll turn them loose for 100 laps. Now, each of the 2 heat races were about 35 laps long. Now they're going to run 100. How much does that change what these drivers do behind the wheel as we get going and start?
First thing I think about is, I mean, I'm looking at the front of the field up here, and we've got, you know, we've got a local champion. We've got Waltrip, who's, you know, talking about his butt hurting. Smoke, he, you know, Smoke's no spring chicken, but he does race anything with wheels on it. And then behind him, you've got a 65-year-old followed by a 23-year-old. So I kind of think up front you've got some age, and I'm curious how it's going to go over this 100 laps and the energy and how sharp you are, because when your body starts to lose, well, you know, comfort, let's say, it naturally takes away from the sharpness that you have mentally. So it always plays into decision making and how sharp you are with everything going on track.
All right, we're going green this time by, so it is 100 laps, the main event. And by the way, with unlimited attempts at a green-white checker finish to get a green flag finish at the end of this one. So Doug Colby with Michael Waltrip to his outside. And we had a car stop on the backstretch. I think that's Bill Elliott who has stopped, and so we have waved off the start, and we'll see what's up with Elliott's car as it's coasting slowly down the backstretch. Seems to have lost power, which is not good.
I'm looking for someone in pit lane to be running over there or grabbing a golf cart or something, but I don't see anyone moving.
Well,
and they don't have radio. They have radios, but they must be able to talk to somebody.
Yeah, there's a tow truck headed out that way to push Bill back around to the pit lane, and so they'll give him every opportunity to try and rejoin the field before they wave it off under green. So got just a minute here, as whatever went wrong with Bill Elliott's car, we'll find out about soon enough. Each of these drivers is connected by radio to their car chief, the mechanic from the SRX team, who is responsible for preparing the driver in the car to go out into competition. And they also are connected to a celebrity crew chief who are on the radio. 4 crew chiefs for the 12 drivers, so each crew chief has 3 drivers to handle. And one of the features of that crew chief is there are 3 who will do every race: Jeff Hammond, Todd Parrott, Mike Beam, well known to many NASCAR fans for the years. Then a local guy by the name of Mike Christopher, who is a race winner here, a champion crew chief here, and he is also part of the night, just as we have a local hero driver, and he's on the horn to some of these drivers also.
So does that celebrity crew chief rotate then through each race?
It's done by random draw.
Okay.
Just like you know, which driver is assigned to which crew chief is done by a random draw, again, to make it as fair as possible. Mike Beam was saying to me, of course, Mike and Bill Elliott were together and had a lot of success, and he said, if I draw Bill Elliott, everybody's going to think it's fixed. And he didn't draw Bill Elliott.
If Tony Stewart wins, they're going to think it's fixed.
Hey, part of the effort of this series with Camping World is to raise $1 million to battle food insecurity in our communities. Camping World's going to match every individual donation up to $500,000 in plating change. Learn more at platingchange.com today. All right, so they've pushed Bill Elliott's car back to the pit lane. We've got our best people on it, finding out what's wrong. And meantime, we stay under the caution flag, as I mentioned again, because they want to give every opportunity for all 12 cars to take the green flag in this one.
This is the beauty of this SRX series, is that you can make sure that it's a show. Like, we want Bill Elliott out there. We want him to get his starting spot back and forth. So I wonder if we can tell. There's an onboard here from Bill Elliott. We should be able to hear something. Sounds like he lost pressure, maybe.
My fuel pressure's gone.
Well, that's kind of an important thing.
I wonder if it's possible to go to a backup at this point in time. Can we pause long enough for him to get in a backup car? Is that still within the limits of what we're prepared to do to get all cars on track? I wonder if there's someone who has that answer.
Anything's possible. Big Brad, what do you hear?
Yeah, I'm standing down here. They're taking a hard look at the fuel pump. It looks like it's lost some electricity, so it's just not turning and pumping fuel. So they're trying to replace some wires quickly if they can. They're trying to replace this harness that attached to the fuel pump. So they'll give it a couple of minutes here, and then if not, I think we'll put Bill Elliott, who's also known as Clyde, in the backup car. But they're going to give it a shot here for about 5 minutes.
All right. People's crew chief, Ray Evernham, down there looking over, standing by the right rear corner of that car. What an effort has gone into getting this series on track. You read in the news about supply chain challenges for manufacturers and things. Well, think about trying to start a brand new racing series and build a fleet of 16 race cars through those challenges, through COVID, through everything else. And the ownership group and all of these guys you see that have joined the SRX team. Rick Wren there pictured on the left, key member, longtime crew chief in NASCAR racing. They have done some work to make this thing happen. That's Ryan McKinney with the glasses in the foreground helping back down the truck. He's kind of headed the whole thing up. Man, they've done some work.
I was talking to Erin Evernham, Ray's wife, earlier today, who also used to race, and she was talking about, I asked how long has this been going on? When was this idea born? And she said a long time, but it's really, really been in full force the last year. And of course, COVID and everything put things on delay, but for the last year, he's been working flat out.
All right, well, they got it fixed. So tip of the cap to the crew, and Bill Elliott will rejoin the end of the field. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Of course, he's won all the big races. He's won a championship. He's the most popular driver, like 16, 17 times in a row in NASCAR as voted by the fans. And could not have had a bigger smile on his face to be taking part in this.
Fans are on their feet, hands in the air. How happy are we to see 10,000 people here, excited to see a race. They got their guy starting on the pole. The car made it back out. Bill's running. He's going to get a spot back, too.
How cool is all that scene? So great. Stafford Motor Speedway, known as one of the showcase places for short track racing in the United States. That's why we're here. The fans have turned out and the place is sold out. Their local hero, Doug Coby, on the pole in the red, white, and blue car. Michael Waltrip to his outside. 100 laps the distance, 12 drivers in the field. And the first winner's trophy in the Superstar Racing Experience is on the line right now.
Doug, a nice smooth start into one, didn't push up too far, kept his momentum up.
Tony Stewart slides through into second. That'll put a lot of pressure on Coby. There's Tony Kanaan with a spot on the bottom of 3 and 4 in the 48, the magenta car. And that white car on the outside, that's Greg Biffle now. Not in the gold car anymore, that's the backup car, that's the Biff trying to make some progress on the outside. Look at him go.
Couple spots further up than that, you've got Marco Andretti in 6th place already. He came through, I didn't see the whole move, but in 3 and 4, he got past a couple of cars. He's moved up 3 spots already.
There is Marco. Off to a good start in this main event. Nobody's off to a better start than Greg Biffle, though. Right behind him, Biffle just underneath Bobby Labonte. So Greg Biffle picks up another spot, and that puts him into 7th place.
Biffle now inside of Marco Andretti. Everybody giving each other room at this point in time. Biffle looks good. Somebody's going to complain about this tire situation.
I was just thinking about that. Oh, spin! Contact for 3rd place, and around into the wall is Michael Waltrip. He and I believe it was Ernie Francis made contact, and we are under caution 4 laps in.
He didn't look like he hit the wall too hard, though. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened.
I thought he saw me on the inside. I thought I was up alongside.
That was Ernie Francis's radio saying, I thought he saw me on the inside. Remember, no spotters for these drivers. They got to do it all themselves with the rear view mirrors. And there's the damage on the 15 for Michael.
Come on, Ernie, there was still a little bit of room down there. You weren't in the grass. It doesn't take much, though. When you're running on the edge of the grip, especially at that point in the corner and you get the car loaded, I mean, it's very easy. Just one little nudge can spin you out. I think Ernie Tony got in there pretty hot too. He didn't look like he had a whole lot of control of how low he could keep it. He definitely had his foot into it, but they made a little contact out there.
That's kind of a little road racing late break.
You can see the right rear damage on Michael Waltrip's car. What they don't want to do is they want to make sure that they don't have a tire rub, because then when you blow a tire, bad things happen. So looks like they'll probably have to get maybe the Sawzall out and cut some of that body work away just to make sure that it doesn't cut the tire down.
Now, something to know about the rules for the SRX series as we take another look at this.
I mean, it hit hard enough.
Yeah. So one thing to know about the rules for this series, you can't lose a lap under the caution. If you're in the pits getting repaired like Michael Waltrip is, they can sit there all the time they need to fix the car, and you stay on the lead lap. You stay on the lap you were. You can lose a lap under green on the track. You can't lose one under caution on pit road getting repaired like this.
I love that.
I'll bet Michael does right now too.
I bet he does. Especially, I mean, with 12 cars, we want everybody in the mix. And, you know, we've seen, you know, the cars that ran so well in the first one and the second one. I mean, they were different cars. So, you know, it gives everyone an opportunity. And with 100 laps here to see how it all shakes out with all the other crashes that will probably happen and the tire wear and who wears them out sooner and faster. It's gonna all make a difference to have that opportunity. Look at that drone. You see that cool drone? I'm just looking down the front straightaway. There was a drone just right alongside of a car. I love, this is such cool technology to be able to have, I think it's 51 cameras on these 12 cars, not including the drones. And this drone, I mean, I don't know who the drone driver is, but they deserve some props just to make sure that they don't hit a car or a wall or something. But this is really cool technology.
How about this look? That's a lot of fun.
Coming to
so one to go here.
Nearby.
One to go is the signal. We'll double them up and restart next time. So on the initial start, Tony Stewart used the inside lane to get to second spot behind Doug Coby when he got the nice hole shot on Michael Waltrip. Now Stewart is to the outside of Coby. And Ernie Francis has the chance to fill that bottom lane if he can stay with the car in front of him.
We saw Coby take the lead on the outside from Waltrip, so it looks like a good line for him. I'm excited to see how Biffle runs. He's already up to it's like 6th place, so we're gonna see him continue to move up. Here we go.
Here they come. Green flag.
That outside lane is working in 1 and 2. Tony gets a run down the back straightaway. We'll see if he can clear him on the exit of one of these corners.
Tricky stuff. Marco Andretti to the inside of Francis also. That's for 3rd place. Here comes Marco. Look at this. Bill Elliott has pulled off the track back onto the pit lane in his car. This for the lead. Doug Coby inside, Tony Stewart outside. Oh, spin on the front stretch. Willie T. Ribbs in the grass. Hang on. He's got it under control. We'll stay under green.
I thought he was
3 wide for the lead. Marco Andretti to the bottom of both Stewart and Coby. Here comes Biffle to the inside of Stewart for 2nd.
Marco and Biff on the move. You know, I tell you what, being teammates with Marco, when he has a good car, that boy gets some confidence and he can be very aggressive.
So Marco Andretti to the race lead in our main event, up 8 positions since the start. Marco not running the full series of IndyCar racing this year for the first time after 15 straight seasons. Said he wanted to be out of his comfort zone. Well, he looked pretty comfortable making this move. Excuse me, you guys are playing too nice. I want through.
Oh, they looked like he did a perfect job of that. Just enough. He used him as a little bit of a wall, and that's something that you can do when you get underneath the car. You know, you slide up, and you're like, oh, just a little help, please. And you're like, oh, thank you.
Here comes Greg Biffle on Marco Andretti for the race lead. Coby's going to try and follow him through. Ooh, wiggle there for Kobe. Hung on to it. Greg Biffle to the lead. Now, fair to point out, Biffle does have some fresher tires on than some of those other guys after getting into that backup car, but they are still used tires, and he's still going to make them last all the way to the finish of this thing.
The cars all have about 70 laps. The first one was 36 laps, and the second race was 35 laps, so he does have a little bit of an advantage there, but there does come a point in time where things mellow out. When all these tires get hot and he gets 20 or so laps on these tires, things will start to probably balance out a little bit.
Tony Stewart back to the inside of Marco Andretti for third place. Orange car Stewart, black car Andretti. Marco has to get out of the gas. He's going to lose a couple spots. That's Ernie Francis underneath him in the yellow car.
I love how we can see Marco Andretti pass 3 wide on the inside to take the lead, and now we see him, he's back in 5th place. That happened quick.
Yeah.
Passing is happening.
Here's Helio Castroneves looking to the inside. Well, once he got the lead, Biffle has not gotten away from Doug Kobe. So Biffle in that backup car, Kobe in the red, white, and blue patriotic machine, the local hero, who said he wanted to beat them all tonight. That's what his goal for tonight was. Greg Biffle. That was Doug Kobe's radio you heard just a second ago.
So what I'm thinking right now is what's going through Kobe's mind. Is he thinking, you know, I'm going to put a little pressure on Greg. I'm gonna get really close. I'm going to be right here. I'm just going to lean on him. I'm going to get him to use his stuff up, and I'm just going to play with him. Or is he putting pressure on and being aggressive himself with the car? Because, I mean, I tell you what, you can be really hard on your car trying to get by somebody. I got a feeling, I don't know, I got a feeling he's probably just putting a little pressure on, seeing how it's going. I mean, we are so early in this race. We've got 79 coming to 78 to go this lap. There's a lot of time, and I'm sure he's just kind of feeling it out, saving his stuff, and making Greg just a little nervous.
He's right up to the bumper there. And then on the other side, Biffle's like, okay, I got the lead. Now I'll just run just fast enough to stay in front of him.
That could very well be happening too.
Just fast enough.
He's able to set the pace.
Yep.
It's always harder to pass than be in the lead.
Control the race. That was Doug Kobe's phrase. Boy, look at him take the low run off 2 for the race lead. They're standing, they're cheering, they're waving their hats in that grandstand.
Storybook, you know, you coming out here, you watching guys like Greg Biffle and Tony Stewart and Marco Andretti and Helio Castroneves, and then you've got your guy who's doing it, who's leading the race. I know that makes everybody here feel really good, and it gives you that feeling like it could be me.
We've got a long way to go in this one, though. Still 75 laps left in our main event.
Introducing new Bud Light Seltzer Iced Tea. Bud Light Seltzer Iced Tea. Perfect for summer.
Thousands of women with metastatic breast cancer are living in the moment and taking Ibrance. Ibrance with an aromatase inhibitor is for postmenopausal women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative metastatic breast cancer as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ibrance plus letrozole significantly delayed disease progression versus letrozole. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening chest pain, cough, or trouble breathing. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. For more information about side effects, talk to your doctor. Be in your moment. Ask your doctor about Ibrance.
Night, Sarah.
Night. Drive safe.
Baby.
I love you.
Bye.
Drive safe.
Okay.
Bye-bye, Mommy.
You guys ready?
Sure you got everything? Drive safe.
We all say it. Chevy can help you do it. With Chevy Safety Assist Standard on the new Equinox and Trailblazer, part of the Chevy family of SUVs. Drive safe.
Need better sleep? Try Nature's Bounty Sleep 3, a unique tri-layer supplement that calms you, helps you fall asleep faster, and stay asleep longer. Great sleep comes naturally with Sleep 3, only from Nature's Bounty.
Little beating and banging for the race lead. Greg Biffle in the white car tried to pass Doug Colby in the red, white, and blue machine.
Be smooth, it's Forrest, you're doing good.
Voice of Mike Beam, celebrity crew chief. Let's use up a little fender.
It's like, hey, I'm here. It's harder than you think to know the boundary of your car, just to that very perfect degree. From my experience, anyway.
Yep. How much is it going to slide? Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you gas it up, for sure. And again, part of the strategy of this, you got to make these tires go the whole race. So at some point, you might have to back your pace off a little bit, try and cool them down. The brakes get warm on these cars. You see the rotors glowing sometimes. At some point, you got to cool them down a little bit.
Whenever you get really aggressive to make a pass happen, you know, you tend to have a little fallback if you've used your stuff up, as they'd say. You know, the tires get a little hot, and you got to let it cool down, and then you get another run at it. It looked like maybe, I mean, Greg was really close to him that whole break. He was really leaning on him hard, and you could see that he probably needs to slow down a little bit, regroup, and let the tires be happy again.
Let them be happy again. Yes, it doesn't take much to make them unhappy. These cars are designed, as you watch Tony Stewart here in third position, orange car, racing Ernie Francis Jr. in the yellow number 2 machine for 4th place. Tony talked about how you were going to have to think your way through these races. These cars, as Ray Evernham said, are designed to be easy to drive, but hard to drive fast. And part of the whole thing for a driver is you're on your own out there. You've got to manage these tires for the whole distance. You've got to know what you have left at the end to go race with. And be able to go race at the finish.
It'll be interesting to see what the drivers end up saying about the tires. These are a bias ply tire, which I only have raced once. I raced it at Dover, which is the place to do it if you're going to, because the tires move around so much, and Dover is so fast, and you drop into 1 and 3. But they move around a lot, and so, you know, sometimes tires get a little bit of a memory, and you beat them up a little bit in one way, and then they remember, they don't forget. And then sometimes you can bring it back. So it'll be interesting to see what the driver's feedback is after the race and how the tires reacted when they pushed them really hard, and whether or not they could get the car back again.
Tony Stewart's a master at understanding how much he can use up when to have left at the end.
Oh, you think that's because he's been at it for a little while?
He's been at it for a little while, yeah.
On dirt, on pavement, and Indy cars, and stock cars, sports cars. I've raced with them in sports cars.
Yep. And Ernie Francis acquitting himself well. Now look at inside those wheels, how red the brake rotors are on that car as he tries to keep racing. Look at that.
Wow. I mean, this is another thing that we're seeing, you know, all together here. How is it, you know, they've done testing. They had drivers do lots of testing on these SRX cars to make sure that they were ready to go for all these drivers. But, you know, nothing's quite like a race condition. So, you know, we're testing the equipment from top to bottom here tonight. All right, so here's an interesting element with the series. They, you know, we want to see good racing, so there are cautions to get them all bunched up. So the question is, what do we call this?
We talked about this earlier, and again, the whole object of the series is fan-friendly. So this is
fan-friendly and not fender-friendly.
That's very good. I like the alliteration. We'll decide what we're going to call it in a minute, but either way, it's a yellow flag to bunch the field up. And we get a look at Doug Colby and Greg Biffle under caution number 2. Reminder, Thursday, if you're looking for some new laughs, the United States of Al is joining the Powerhouse CBS comedy lineup. From Chuck Lorre, executive producer of The Big Bang Theory, Young Sheldon and Mom. See why folks are saying everyone could use a friend like Al. The United States of Al, new this Thursday, 8:30, 7:30 Central here on CBS. Second caution of the main event tonight on Superstar Saturday night at Stafford Motor Speedway in Connecticut.
Some days, you just don't have it. Not my uncle, though. He's taking Trulicity for his type 2 diabetes, and now he's really on his game.
Once weekly Trulicity lowers your A1C by helping your body release the insulin it's already making. Most people reached an A1C under 7%. Plus, Trulicity can lower your risk of cardiovascular events. It can also help you lose up to 10 pounds. Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. It's not approved for use in children. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it, you or your family have medullary thyroid cancer, or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, which can lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems. Show your world what's truly inside. Ask your doctor about once-weekly Trulicity.
Gillette Pro Glide. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke. So you're ready for the day, with a fresh face for a fresh start. For a limited time, get a 5th cartridge free.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
Welcome back, America. It sure is good to see you.
Back live, the inaugural race of the Camping World SRX Series on Superstar Saturday night at Stafford Speedway in Connecticut. Brad Keselowski chiming in. Greg Biffle looking stout. Another reason to like more short tracks. Brad has a great appreciation for short track racing, his background and his roots, and certainly Greg Biffle does as well. Story about Greg Biffle comes from the Pacific Northwest, was a short track racer, went to compete in a made-for-television series of short track races in Arizona over the winter. And my dear friend Benny Parsons, the late Benny Parsons, discovered Greg. He was watching him race, and he went to Jack Roush, famed NASCAR team owner, NASCAR Hall of Famer, and said, "You need to get this kid." And he got that kid, and he went on to have a wonderful career at NASCAR's top level. Champion in 2 of NASCAR's 3 national series, and had a pretty good night tonight, if not adventurous here in Stafford.
Well, I'm grateful for this yellow. You know, I mean, this is, you know, I'm just going to say, like, there's times in NASCAR where we questioned, like, why did that yellow come out? But it keeps it interesting. So I say we need all the NASCAR drivers, fans, whoever you are out there, or IndyCar or any other racing. What do we call this? What do we call these cautions? Are they like fan-friendly?
I call it the fun flag.
Fun flag?
The fun factor flag.
The competition caution?
Nah, we don't like that term. Base cars off. Here we go. Back racing just shy of halfway in our main event. Doug Colby to the inside, red, white, and blue car. Greg Biffle to the outside. Tony Stewart's in the orange machine. And that is Elio Castroneves in that patched up red car who just went through into 4th place. Well, just for a minute. Andretti through. Castroneves getting knocked around. Here's Biffle outside for the race lead.
Doug did an awesome job in turn 1. He slid up just enough to close the door on the outside, but did it late enough in the corner to not let anyone get on the inside, and he maintained that lead.
Now look at Biffle roll that car in there.
Brad's right. He's looking sporty. Oh boy.
More carnage from Michael Waltrip's car as he's caught in between Bobby Labonte and Ernie Francis.
So I'm wondering how much damage was from the accident in 3 and 4 where he hit the outside barrier, and I'm wondering if the rear wing was perhaps knocked a little loose. He's got smoke coming out the back now as he comes around. I think it'd be interesting interesting to see if he can keep going.
And
We say body work doesn't matter, but that rear wing might matter. Might matter.
And that left rear tire is not going to live long with that. So Michael's been shown the black flag, and he'll have to come to the pit lane and have that attended to. Marco Andretti back to 4th place, Matt.
What a great recovery for Marco. Now, under that caution, he was telling his celebrity crew chief, Jeff Hammond, that the transmission kept popping out of 4th gear. He was able to get it into 4th. That's where he restarted, and he's on the move.
Now, for Marco Andretti, started to tell the story before, but stopped racing the full-time IndyCar series and said this year he wanted to try new things. He wanted to put himself out of his comfort zone. So signed up for the SRX series. He's doing some endurance racing, some sports car racing with his cousin Jared Andretti. For Marco, I saw him this morning while he was practicing his car. I said, so how uncomfortable are you? You know what? He said, you know what? This feels kind of good. So good for him.
You know, there's something to putting yourself outside of your comfort zone, and you get they say that you get comfortable in the discomfort, and you just become familiar with that territory, and you gain confidence to know that you can step outside of that and do different things and try new things. And you know, I think for someone like Marco, who's had such a name, you know, he's 3rd generation Andretti, and there's a lot of pressure, and I can associate with that too, in just a sense of getting into a new car and having that pressure. People ask me, do you want to get back in a car? And I'm like, no, and you know what? Sometimes there's more downside. So I think this is awesome to see Marco in stepping outside of that comfort zone, driving a car that he is definitely not familiar with driving, and doing a great job. He's in 4th place. He's running up on Tony Stewart right now, and nobody has more experience in a race car than Tony Stewart.
That's for sure. Saw Tony Kanaan in that pink machine, the magenta car, the 48, get a little bit of a rough ride as Ernie Francis and Bobby Labonte got by him. So TK back to 8th position at this point. And there are your first 5. In order: Kobe, Biffle, Stewart, Andretti, and Castroneves up to 5th place.
Castroneves has made up 6 spots since the start of the race, so it'll be interesting to see if he continues to march to the front. I mean, he is right on the back of that lead group. He was really fast in practice. Really fast in practice yesterday was what I was saying. But looks like he just caused a little bit of a caution.
Caution behind you, caution behind you.
Get a replay, but he was inside of Marco into turn 3. And here it is from our awesome drone.
How hard did he get hit, and how hard did he get the barrier, if at all? Just kept it off the outside.
He's off the barrier, but I don't think he's going to be too happy with Elio there.
No.
I think Elio got in a little hot. Look at you can see the left front glowing.
Yeah.
Still on the brakes as he's spinning around. Yeah. This is what we want to see.
Oh, this would be a good look. This is Elio Castroneves with a visor cam.
Yeah, I think you see the hand in the air going, oh, shoot, you know. Sometimes you just get in a little hot. Sometimes you just, you know, you just miss it by just a little bit. You know, these are exceptional race car drivers pushing it to the very limit. It's not like there's a lot of room for error. And so I think he could see that probably just got in a little hot. I wonder if we could talk to him. I'd like to talk to Elliot. Let's see if we can get him on the radio here.
Let's see now.
Let's find him on the.
As we play with all of our new toys here, that would be channel.
All right, let's see
if
we
you
can
got
get
it. Okay.
him. Elio, you got me?
Sorry, brother.
What happened out there?
Well, I thought he came down. I thought he saw me, but yeah, don't know. I thought he saw me inside.
All right, you think he's gonna retaliate if he gets to you?
Well, we might be. I will see me, right? Because anyway, we're gonna go green here. Let's see how it goes.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know.
Well, you probably gave him something to think about there that he hadn't thought about at that moment.
Maybe it's just because I want to see it.
Yeah, well, we will find out. There's a few cars separating them at the moment. Up front, it is Colby and Biffle, then Stewart, you're looking at there, and Castroneves. Then Francis and Labonte, Kanaan, and Biffle. I'm sorry, Biffle's up front. That's Paul Tracy in the lime green car. All right, who gets the edge here?
You know, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff going on out there, as Elio's talking about, like, you know, I don't know, I thought he saw, they're dealing with no spotters.
Yep.
This is very foreign territory for drivers that are, especially someone like Elio, 46 years old. He hasn't had no spotter for God knows how long.
Long time, yeah.
Since he's been in a go-kart, probably running around a track, maybe at the only time. So, you know, that's why probably there's a lot of question as to what's going on. But definitely what's going on here is a really good race for the lead. We've got Colby and Biffle still going at it, side by side.
Doug Colby, the local hero, the 30-time winner in NASCAR modified racing here at Stafford. He finally edges ahead of Greg Biffle to get back to the top spot.
You know what I noticed about Colby? He seems really, I don't know his reputation as a driver, but from what I can see, he seems smart. He seems patient. He doesn't look like he overdrives the car. He looks like he's able to find that limit pretty well, but not go over it. And even if it takes an extra lap to get clear of the car, he's patient enough to wait for that.
Doug's one of those guys that experience and a little bit of age has mellowed a little bit, where those kinds of issues are concerned.
Doesn't that work across the board for everybody?
Yes. But like so many, racing is not his full-time job. He has other business that he has to do during the day and then work on his racing at night and on the weekends. And out here on a Saturday night in Connecticut at his home track, he's out in front of the field of superstars looking for a checkered flag that would give him a story to tell his grandkids for the rest of his life.
Some of us were born for this. To protect people. To help them save. With a home and auto bundle from Progressive. I was born for this. And now, it's prime time.
Cut. Jamie, what are you doing? You're not even in this one.
I thought it was Thursday. Sorry.
It is.
I thought it was last Thursday.
Advanced non-small cell lung cancer can change everything, but your first treatment could be a chemo-free combination of 2 immunotherapies that works differently. It could mean a chance to live longer. Opdivo plus Yervoy is for adults newly diagnosed with non-small cell lung cancer that is spread, test positive for PD-L1, and does not have an abnormal EGFR or ALK gene. Opdivo plus Yervoy is the only FDA-approved combination of 2 immunotherapies. Opdivo plus Yervoy equals a chance for more starry nights, more sparkly days, more big notes, more small treasures, more family dinners, more private desserts. Opdivo and Yervoy can cause your immune system to harm healthy parts of your body during and after treatment. These problems can be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have a cough, chest pain, shortness of breath, irregular heartbeat, diarrhea, constipation, severe stomach pain, nausea or vomiting, dizziness, fainting, eye problems, extreme tiredness, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, rash, itching, confusion, memory problems, muscle pain or weakness, joint pain, flushing or fever. These are not all the possible side effects. Problems can occur together and more often when Opdivo is used with Yervoy. Tell your doctor about all medical conditions, including immune or nervous system problems, if you've had or plan to have an organ or stem cell transplant, or received chest radiation. Here's to a chance for more horizons, a chance to live longer. Ask your doctor about chemo-free Opdivo plus Yervoy. Thank you to all involved in our clinical trials.
The Camping World SRX Series inaugural race on Superstar Saturday night is at Stafford Motor Speedway in North Central Connecticut. And we have less than 30 laps to go, 27 to go in this one. The local driver who gets the race with the superstars, Doug Colby, is out ahead of this field. Greg Biffle is second. Tony Stewart is third. Running order across the top of your screen. Who has what left to make a run? Has Tony Stewart been saving something and going to let it loose soon? Has Colby used up too much? We'll find out. Next week, it's on to something completely different. Another half-mile track, but a dirt surface instead of paved. Knoxville Raceway in Iowa. Next Saturday night at 8 o'clock here on CBS. Talk about putting some people out of their comfort zone. Oh boy, it'll be a great show.
I remember the first time when Tony asked me to do Prelude to the Dream at Eldora, track that he owns, and I reluctantly said yes. I kind of felt like I had to because he was my boss.
He was your boss, yeah.
And you know, I'm going to be really honest. I didn't practice at all because I wanted to have the excuse that I didn't practice. That's why I sucked. Because I just did not. It's not in my comfort zone, but I did it.
And how'd it work out?
I crashed.
Oh, okay.
I do crash in practice or in one of the heats or something like that. I put it out of my mind.
Seriously, I mean, for some of these drivers, they have never raced on dirt in their life. Marco Andretti went and got in a friend's open-wheel midget class car, on a dirt track after the racing had all finished for the night and everybody had left to get a few laps on dirt because he'd never done it before. This was a while back. Ernie Francis Jr. went and ran at the local track in South Florida last Saturday night in somebody's car for the first time ever on dirt. So these guys are trying to figure it out, and it should be a great show next Saturday night.
Speaking of Ernie Francis Jr., he's the only thing that stands between Marco and Castroneves right now. I mean, maybe my dream can come true. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll have another, what do we call that? A friendly fan?
A fun flag.
Yeah. Maybe we get another fun flag here with 20-ish to go. Yeah, I'm not sure how that'll go, but I think that, I think we need to, I think Biffle's got something for Colby.
I'm still keeping an eye on Stewart in that orange car.
From what I see from smoke is that even from the first heat, it seems like his car comes on more and more as the race goes on. And he's hanging in there.
He's hanging in. And again, that 20 laps will go by in a hurry that are left to go in this race, but a lot can change in 20 laps. What a dream so far for Doug Colby at the head of this field. For Tony Stewart, one of the founders of this series, Tony was the one that did a lot of the calling around to drivers and said, hey, you need to come do this. And what Tony said this was all about was being able to have drivers show their personalities, have fun, and take a lot of the things that championship racing, I'll call it, when you're competing for a series title at the big times, kind of create difficulty in doing. For example,
some of the fun factor out of it a little. It gets very serious.
We could put cameras in places that, you know, maybe if you're racing for one team owner against another, they won't let you.
Sure. I mean, there's times where, you know, you have a helmet cam, and sometimes as a driver, you just don't want that burden of having a camera. Sometimes you also don't want them to see the tack, to see what temperatures are being run. There's all kinds of games that get played.
Yep. All these drivers are here to have fun, but they're all here to win also. And the one that's in command of this one as we get down to the final 15 laps is Doug Colby. And this is a guy who won his first championship at Stafford back in 2000 in a full fendered car called the Pro Stock Division.
You know, as I look across the lap times of the drivers, you see Colby and Biffle, and Biffle was 4/10 quicker on the lap before, but that one they matched each other, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if maybe Colby's just setting the pace now.
He wanted to get in the lead and control the race. So remember, at the end of the second heat, he said he used up a little bit of his car to try and get to the front. He's managed to gap Greg Biffle a little bit here as we get into these closing laps.
One of the things that you can, you know, have as an advantage for a guy like Colby, who's been here so many times and has 10,000 laps here, is that you really, as a driver, start to identify the little things on the track that can help you if you're tight, if you're loose. I know that was something in Cup that I would, you know, be so grateful for from drivers when they would pass along little information here and there. And when I'd learn them for myself, is I was like, oh man, if I just hit this seam just right, you know, this gets the car if I'm a little bit tight to turn, things like that. So Colby's going to know every square inch of this track to help him to the furthest extent, more than those who haven't been here before.
Coming up to put Paul Tracy a lap down if he can. Remember, Tracy's car damaged in an incident earlier in the night, so you could see
It does not look comfortable.
He's been struggling out there to try and keep it between the walls. But the leader is by cleanly and without incident, and Greg Biffle will look for some running room there to keep up and try and keep the pressure on.
Again, keep in mind they don't have spotters, because
That's
at that moment, if you have a spotter, somebody's telling Paul Tracy, like, your lap traffic, second place is right behind you, but he doesn't have that, and he's just, it looks like he's having to hang on for dear life anyway. So these are things that are, you know, normally you'd see perhaps a different way of acting around cars, but they're out there on their own.
Stewart, Bobby Labonte, third and fourth, clearing some of the lap traffic as well. Doesn't look like Marco's going to be able to catch up to Helio Castroneves unless a caution comes out. But as we get inside the final 10 laps, let's talk about this guy up front. 41 years old, 6-time NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour champion, the only driver to win 4 consecutive titles in that division. And the meaning of this to him, he felt the burden of representing all the guys that raced at all these local tracks, not just here at Stafford, but all over the country, in trying to represent them well tonight. And then he'd look at you and say, oh, by the way, I want to win. Because that's what racers do. He wants to win. And he will make a lot of these fans happy. He's giving up part of a chance at his championship because his race car is racing tonight in upstate New York with another driver behind the wheel. He gave that up and compromised his chance to win his series championship to be here tonight and compete against these guys.
What do you think added more fuel to the fire? That he sacrificed that, or that he was racing against guys like Biffle, Stewart, Labonte, Castroneves? That's
Caution.
the cars literally that are behind him.
Caution. Got a car throwing sparks over turn number 2. Is that Marco Andretti?
It looks like the black car. Yes, it is. Guys, this is the dream come true. 6 to go.
Right front, go down.
Blew a tire?
Yeah, well, something
He
went down.
He had some bodywork damage just behind that right front. You see where it's flapped back there, right where it says Camping World?
Yep.
That's been flat back the whole time. I don't know if that's any part of what could have been going on underneath, or if perhaps, I mean, there's a lot of bodywork damage on the front. I don't know if he caught the wall earlier that we, you know, some few laps earlier that we didn't see, but.
Oh, look, that tire's locked up.
Interesting.
Wow, that's different.
I'm not the best technical girl, but I could tell right now, I could say what I'd say on the radio right now. Right front, won't turn, locked up.
I don't know what it is, but it's real important.
Yeah.
All right, so this changes everything now. Caution is out inside the final 5 laps. SRX crew will go and have a look and see.
They managed to get it off, so it wasn't.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something that burned or melted in there. This is probably bodywork. Who knows? Debris.
Well,
he could have driven over something too.
They'll have a good look to make sure before they send Marco back out to go back up to speed.
Come on, grab that Sawzall, cut that off. Yeah, we don't need that hanging. It took me until I raced NASCAR until I knew what a Sawzall was, but it just basically Sawzall things.
You don't usually cut parts off an Indy car like that.
You don't.
Yeah. There's
not a lot of coming back from bodywork damage in an Indy car. Got some onboard here to listen to. To the rim.
Possibility that with some of that damage on the right front, the brake cooling was affected, and you know, there's all kind of things that could have happened, and we'll find out after the race is over. But right now, we're doubling up and getting ready to go back racing in one more lap. And so, looky here. Greg Biffle is to Doug Colby's outside, and Tony Stewart is on his back bumper. That's Bobby Labonte on the outside of row number 2. And we'll have a sprint to the finish of this one. I'm going to say turns 1 and 2 on this restart are going to be pretty interesting corners. Pace car is off. Kobe inside, Biffle outside, Stewart, Labonte, row number 2. Fans on their feet. Here we go. Kobe's going to get away. Stewart couldn't stay underneath Biffle. Here they come to the white flag. We're entering the last lap of the race.
This is where you just kind of forget where the brake zone is and you go, oh well.
Sail it in and see.
Come on.
What a dream come true. These fans are going to go bananas. Their local track hero is going to beat the superstars tonight. Doug Kobe wins at Stafford.
Oh, yeah!
You did an incredible job.
Good job, Douglas. Good job, man.
With the pressure of people like Greg Biffle and Tony Stewart right behind you, and you just hang on and keep your cool, it's impressive.
It was impressive.
You did a good job representing all the local track guys.
Said he felt the pressure. Well, he served them well tonight, and listen to this crowd as he comes down the front stretch.
Now you can burn your tires up, buddy. Wonder if he has a post-race celebration that he's known for. Is he going to climb the fence like Elio? Does he have a fancy footwork dance like Willie T wanted to have? What's he do?
First of all, he's going to celebrate with this crowd. He's going to have the biggest smile on his face you've seen. Very well-spoken guy, and is doing something that is very familiar to him. This will be his 31st feature race win at his home track.
That's got to be a pretty cool feeling to come to a track with these drivers and big stage, national TV, new series.
Here he comes.
Listen to the fans just loving their guy. Oh. He slipped on the flag. 10,000 people just love to see him come across the start-finish line as the winner. Great job. Let's go to Matt.
35 years ago, a little 6-year-old kid climbed behind the wheel of a quarter midget for the first time. Did you ever think that a night like this could take place with so many legendary names in the field?
I never thought I'd fall on my butt getting out of the car after winning. Man, what a special night for short track racing in America. This is a special night for Stafford Motor Speedway and everybody who's a short track racer around the country, whether you're dirt or asphalt. To have these guys here, this amazing crowd at Stafford, I really want to thank Ray Evernham, everybody at SRX, Camping World, Progressive Insurance, Sun RV Resort, Fran, Edelbrock on my car, just a special night. And this means a lot for short trackers. And the only thing I screwed up tonight was my exit, and I'd do it all over again if that's what it takes to win this race. So. Thank you, fans. Just set the pace, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but I lost a very good friend of mine this week, Don King, and he was one of my best friends. Gave me my first modified tour ride. I know the whole King family's watching tonight, and it's going to be a tough week for me. I'm going to celebrate a little bit, but I got some bigger things to do, and I just did this for Don. I put the sticker Woody Pick that gave me on my helmet, and that's what short track racers do. We pour our heart and soul in this. I've done this for decades, and Don gave me my first modified tour ride, and I can't thank him enough. Before we go, I really want to thank everybody at SRX for doing this. These guys have been busting their butts, you guys in the shop. I know how hard you work to get these cars together, and I really appreciate everything you've done. Of course, Ray and Tony, George Pine, Sandy Montag, the Montag Group, everybody at CBS, the fans watching at home. Short Tracker won it tonight, guys. So, Brian Brown, you're up next, buddy. Cody Swanson, Bobby Santos. Got to take it to him. Got to keep this going.
Congratulations.
Well, the concept when Ray Evernham originally proposed it was the Rocky Balboa car. Named after, of course, the Rocky character in the movie. The upstart to come in and slay the champions. Doug Coby did it tonight in Connecticut at his home track.